500 years ago, sus scrofa, or the wild boar, were brought to the United States as livestock during the Age of Exploration. However, no one would have predicted the effects they would have on the environment as an out-of-control invasive species. What is an invasive species, you might ask? An invasive species is a plant or animal that is not native to the location they live in. Invasive species have the tendency to spread and cause damage to the environment and other native species.
It is important to not confuse invasive species with non-native species when comparing the two. A non-native species is also a plant or animal species that is brought to an area or migrates. However, the difference between a non-native and invasive species is that non-native species do not cause a disruption or imbalance in the ecosystem they are brought to, while invasive species specifically cause issues in the ecosystem they are not native to. This can include destruction to property or the environment, imbalanced competition with native species, and destruction of plant or animal habitats or resources.
Sus scrofa was brought to the United States in the 1500s by European explorers and settlers. They are native specifically to Europe, Northwest Africa, and throughout Asia. They are large hairy mammals that can survive a wide range of climates. They are remarkably hardy animals that can run and even swim well. They're omnivores, and being part of the pig family, are known for their ability to eat almost anything. Most of their diet consists of plant matter, including berries, fruits, and roots they dig up from the ground with their keen sense of smell and digging ability. They will also eat eggs, mice, worms, and even snakes if given the opportunity.
In places like Texas and the Midwest, their large numbers compete with native species such as the mule deer over wild persimmons and acorns. Along the southern coast, they eat the eggs of nesting birds and turtles at alarmingly fast rates, threatening populations of both. Because of how mobile wild boar are, and how they dig through the ground in search of roots, they are known to trample and threaten low-lying plants over large areas. Wild boar are known for breaking into farms and digging up soil, looking for fruits and plants to eat. They will also break into chicken farms in search of eggs and sometimes even chickens to eat. Because of their relatively large size and reckless nature, they oftentimes break fences, dig holes in and through property, and even attack small family pets on occasion.
After the wild boar were brought to the United States, they spread all across the Deep South, Texas, Florida, and California. Since the time of their introduction, they have thrived in these areas and spread all across the continental United States, being found, and an issue, in places as far as upstate New York, becoming a danger to countless ecosystems and threatening keystone species. Unlike an invasive species, a keystone species is an important native part of the ecosystem. So important, in fact, that if they are eliminated or even threatened, it can cause a widespread harm to the native ecosystem. The reason they are so important is because they are usually connected to most, if not all, species in the area. They can influence them through their predation, living condition, or even migration. An example of an American keystone species would be the honeybee. Honeybees support plant populations through cross-pollination. The plants then survive and spread, which provides shelter for honeybees and a food source for different animals and birds.
People should be concerned about the wild boar because of how widespread and destructive they are. They threaten countless plant and animal populations with their recklessness and appetite, and even now threaten human property by targeting farms and gardens for food. If humans do not properly end or limit the issues associated with the invasive species, such as sus scrofa, it can result in the threatening of keystone species, widespread destruction of habitats, and even certain extinction of predated animals or plants. Certain measures are in place to control wild boar populations in the United States. For example, across many states, including New York, it's legal and encouraged to shoot and hunt any wild boar in sight. Wild boar are hunted for food and trophies across the southern states in particular, where they are most widespread. Sus scrofa has spent the last few hundred years spreading across the United States. Let's spend coming years cleaning up and being more careful about non-native species.